everybody. So happy everyone's here. I'm very excited about today's panel. Before we get into the panel though, I want to give everyone a heads up. We've got a contest that's starting on Wednesday. You'll be getting an email to your CGL email address. And we're very excited that we are getting very close to launching our joint venture for mortgage. And we need a name for it. We don't have a name. So we need to figure out what we're going to call this crazy thing. So we've got a contest that we're starting on Wednesday where you guys can submit your ideas as to what we should be calling our mortgage company. We can't use the words bank. We can't call it Corcoran anything. It needs to be its own independent name. But the lucky winner that we select the name from is going to get a long weekend in New York City and some show tickets. And it's kind of exciting. So to look for that email, again, that's going to be coming out probably on Wednesday, and then get your creative juices flowing and think about what we should call that new exciting mortgage venture. So anyways, with that, I'm going to introduce Pam Irman, who I dare say is becoming a friend at this point because we're talking so much.
Yeah.
She's awesome. She's also been recognized as one of the very top coaches in the team environment for real estate in the United States. And we are excited that she's actually part of the CGL family. So with that, I'm going to kick it off to Pam, and she's going to tell us all about what we're doing today.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. I'm really glad to be here. I mean, I've got a really powerful group. I have, as I said, the opportunity to work with them on a regular basis as some of the top team leaders and performers in the company. And so I thought maybe we would just go to each one of them really quick. And I'd like for you all to introduce yourself, tell them your market, tell them what you're currently doing from a team standpoint. And we'll just go through the group. Jeff, let's start with you because on my screen, you're in the top left.
Hey, good morning, Jeff Green, and run a team together. Ricardo Jimenez and I are business partners. We've been working on a team for about 5.5 years. We're in the Central Valley region, also overlap somewhat a little sometimes in the Bay Area and up into the Gold Country. And we have 15 on our team right now, Ricardo, is that right? 16 agents on our team. We use a Commissions Inc. platform where we run our leads or get our leads through there. We train our agents very diligently on a lot of follow-up and prospecting. But our market, to answer your question about the market, our market's pretty much like everywhere else. We're on fire. We are the recipients of many work from home refugees leaving the Bay Area, or also partially halfway in, halfway out, somebody who has a 600 square foot apartments coming out and buying a 4,000 square foot house because of the kind of the real estate arbitrage with our area versus the Bay Area. So we have a lot of connections with the Bay, and we have a lot of connections with people moving from all over the country, and we're super excited to be here today on this panel.
Thank you. How about you, Ricardo?
Good morning. Good morning. Ricardo Jimenez here. As Jeff already mentioned, we actually have 19 agents, 16 here in Northern California, 3 in the San Diego marketplace. So yeah, very, very fortunate to be here. I feel like I'm finally living my dream. Finally living in the space of where I've been meant to operate. It's been years. I used to work at Zillow.com, and I used to watch these agents that I would go out and train and think to myself, well, I can do what they're doing, but until now, I couldn't figure it out. And being a part of Pam's coaching is just really unlocking a lot of the gaps that we're missing in our business, and just plugging those gaps. And it's incredible. I'm living my dream. Thank you for having me here.
So cool. The two of you are powerful, but there's there's always someone else in that mix who's even more powerful. Kamika.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Kamika. I also go by Kay. I am the Director of Operations. So I have the pleasure of working with Jeff and Ricardo on a daily basis. And thank you so much, Pam and Matt. You guys have been great. Jonathan as well. I see you on the Zoom. So yes, as a Director of Operations, I am the middle person and getting the vision from these two gentlemen and applying systems to help our agents out on a daily basis.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, one of the reasons why I really wanted Kamik with us this morning, she's unbelievably powerful in the structure. Dave Westall's got one as well, and they make such a difference. So often they're in the midst of the coaching conferences or calls that we've got and make such unbelievable contributions. So we're thrilled to have you here today, Kamika. Todd, the two of you and Kevin, tell us about you. Oh, Todd, you're on mute. And I know you got a lot to say.
Yeah, some may think that was a good idea to have me on mute. I'm Todd Chambers. I am in a team with Kevin Vieira. We're both located in the Bay Area in Brentwood, California. We've been in business together for well over 20 years. Combined. Actually, it's probably more like 35 or 40 years, honestly. We've been working together as a team for about 2 years. Working with Pam has been an eye-opening experience. I always tell her that every time I get off the phone on a training call with her, I'm filled with a little more anxiety than I started with, because I realize there are so many things that we're not doing that we need to be doing. Where we're at in our business right now is we are in the expansion mode. So we're where Ricardo and Jeff, that's where we want to be eventually. And Kay, we want to be in that role. So we're looking for team members. We already have one agent that's working for us. We're in the process of recruiting number 2. We have a dedicated TC/assistant, but we're looking to hire an assistant to kind of help us plug some of those holes and get us out of our more of a labor role into a business management role for both Kevin and I. And I don't see Kevin. I know he's on the call, but I don't see him anywhere.
Yeah, I'm not sure he is. Maybe Jonathan can help us with that because I'm not seeing him coming up also.
Yeah, Kevin.
And I'd love to have him involved because he's got some great things to share.
Yep.
And Todd, the one thing I can throw out there from a management standpoint and from a coaching standpoint is it seems to me that the path from where people are to the team they want always starts with oh no's and it ends up with ahas, right?
Right.
So we're all going through those transitions and they happen all the time.
Yeah.
So we are excited. And I think both of you have this foundation in what you're building that allows for multi-markets, which are some of those things that we can see coming down the pike as we just continue to develop this further and further. Yep. So excited about all of that. Yep. Dave, you're looking good in the sunglasses, buddy. You're on mute at the moment. There you go.
There we go. I think for now.
Welcome. Just tell them a little bit about where you are and what you're doing real quick.
Sorry, I'm just in a weird zone right now. Yeah, so I'm in the Lake Tahoe market and just in that expansion mode with our team. Right now, I have a wonderful operations manager who I think might be on the call. Her name's Danielle, and she's really helping to elevate our business, implement systems, and help us grow. So right now, we are working on bringing in a buyer's agent to work with our team, and also looking to hire a few other positions to create more efficiency within our team. So it's really exciting, and every time I hop on a call, I'm inspired and a little bit scared and getting outside of my comfort zone quite a bit and figuring out how to, make this all work and take the leaps that are needed to grow and expand.
Yeah, and I have to tell you another truth that seems to be out there on a regular basis is if you want something to change, get uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's one thing, but and change is a constant when it comes to a team. So sometimes it feels like, and I think Dave, you and I have talked about that, sometimes it feels like one step forward and 2 steps back. And then one morning you wake up and you go, wow, I feel like this was a 2 step forward, 1 step back week, right? And pretty soon it all feels like it's moving forward. So we'll be talking about that as well. But one of the things that I do want to throw out there for all those people that are joining us right now, I have to tell you that the exciting thing to me, the really exciting thing to me is I believe with everything in me that innovation is in the DNA of Corcoran Global Living. That is part of who they are. They don't know how to think or function or respond any differently. And this team dynamics division is one more example of that. I mean, we are focused on building true business partnerships, not just words, not just theory, building true business partnerships. And I think in doing that, it's allowed me to work with the brokers, the top sales leaders, and our goal is just to devise a mission of this particular division to really support the career life cycle that's going on with the people that are in this process. You know, you're going through a career life cycle from one entry. Each one of you tend to be at a little bit different place at this point, but ultimately the goal is to keep moving in a way that you have the option, if you choose to, of hitting those levels of both being true business partners and ultimately equity partners. And at the very end of that process, having buyout opportunities for exit strategies. That's amazing when it comes to teams. That's amazing. It's what's unique and it's not out there. I don't care what anybody says. That is not the process available in market. So today we discussed a few things in advance of what I thought were the right topics to bring up today. And there are really 4 principles that I think are really important when it comes to successful coaching. Number 1, this paradigm shift of thinking like an agent and shifting to thinking like a business owner. I think that's so just at the foundation of everything that we're doing. We're going to talk about that today. The transition from being your own labor force, and y'all have already mentioned that, into knowing that you've got to move into a management force, which doesn't mean you leave behind forever labor. It just means that your focus is moving up in regards to what's highest and best use of your time. Third, we're going to have some conversations about productivity and profit versus production, and knowing how to make that transition and what that means to y'all. And last, this whole idea of systematizing and scaling your business, because if there's anything I know, you cannot grow your business without systematizing and scaling it. And the truth is, at the foundation of those two things is your brand experience, right? So we're really going to drill into something like in that area. But I just saw that Kevin came on, and Kevin, it looks like you're muted at this point, but when we were discussing this, I wanted to have this initial thought process because you said, Pam, above and beyond all of this, the first question is why? Why do you want a team? Why don't you stay an agent? What's the purpose of the team? What does that do for you? Kevin, can you share with us your thoughts on that? Because I think it's a great place to start. Kevin, you out there? I can see your pictures, but you're not coming through. I'm going to share this and then you just stop me anytime you pop in. But one of the things that he said is why? Why is the first question. You know, what do you want a team for? What does it represent for you? Why don't you just stay to be a successful agent? What's the need? Is this an ego scenario? Well, here's what I will say. At the very foundation of what you're doing, a team is a growth vehicle in real estate. You got 24/7, that's all you've got. And if you want to remain the labor force, which means you very rarely have the chance to buy back your life, then you've got to look at the opportunity of what a team does for you. A team is not just a bunch of people that you throw against the wall, hope they stick. It is the growth vehicle in real estate that expands the labor load and helps you to get balance in all these areas. So Kevin, I loved the question. I thought it was a very reasonable expectation of where we start. And why would somebody want to do this anyway? At the end of it, I'll ask you this. Are you interested in a team? And if you say no, my next question would be, well, then are you interested in growth? Are you interested in growth? Because that's what we're talking about. All right, let's go to this first question, which was all about this whole idea of thinking like an agent versus thinking like a business owner. You know, what does that mean to you? What does that really mean to you? Dave, you had some really good thought process on that. What's that transition like, and do you feel like it's taking place? You're on mute, Dave.
There I am. Here I am. Yeah, so, you know, I think the big difference is kind of getting outside of yourself, trying not to focus on lower end productivity and, you know, grow the business. I'm, you know, sorry, I'm just drawing a blank because I don't have the question up in front of me, so I'm trying to
That's okay.
pull that up.
When you apply it to that day in and day out, and you're thinking, because I know when we started working and there was such a focus on thinking like an agent, which is show up and get it done. And then all of a sudden you got to show up with a much bigger idea of what this world looks like out there when it comes to real estate. That transition between those two, how does that happen?
Well, I think it happens by, you know, implementing systems. And, you know, one of the biggest things for me has just been, you know, getting Danielle in. Oh, sorry.
That was someone else. Someone just came in, Dave. You can go on.
Oh, sorry. So, you know, implementing systems, figuring out how to, you know, create a business rather than, you know, just the Dave show. And, you know, providing a level of service to our clients that they expect, but doing it at scale. And the only way to do that is by focusing on the higher productivity tasks that, you know, are most important to the business. And, you know, I think that that's where, you know, the growth between an agent and an actual business occurs, because it's not just Dave running around doing everything. It's Dave getting help with certain things and leveraging other people and delegating tasks and making sure that the overall experience is exceptional for the client. So I think that's like one of the biggest things, transitioning from, you know, just the realtor, Dave, to an actual business in real estate.
And I have to tell you, the whole idea of being a jack of all trades and a master of everything, right? There's not a person on this page that would accept a master of, you know, jack of all trades and a master of nothing. Everyone here wants to be a jack of all trades and a master of everything. And without that transition mentally, you end up with no life. You may end up with a great career, but no life. Ricardo, let's go to you, because I know you've had some thoughts on this.
Yes, absolutely. So what does this statement mean to me? It actually means both financial and time freedom. And most important to me is the time freedom. I'm a dad of 2 daughters. My oldest is 23. My youngest is 10. My oldest, she experienced at times like 8 hours a day riding around in the car with me, showing homes, going to open houses, putting out signs when she was 11 years old, 10 years old, and just being immersed in this industry, which is great. She's now one of my real estate agents, so I'm super proud of it. But I would have rather spent a lot of that time with her, having a free weekend to myself, to her and I, out in the mountains, traveling or doing what we like to do best, rather than setting up yard signs and open house signs. So at this point, at this season of my life, what it means to me is just is taking back my time and having enough financial freedom to be able to select what I want to do, when I want to do. Now, especially with my 10-year-old, I have a 10-year-old that I still got many years left to raise. And so I'm super determined to make sure that she gets to experience as much of my time as possible, and not the real estate time. So so that's what it means to me. And do I feel like this is happened? You know, I was just having this conversation with someone the other day. It has been 11 weekends that I have not shown a home or taken a listing appointment, or it's been 11 weekends I haven't been out in the field in a row. And for me, that's a huge win. So yes, is it happening? It is happening for me. And that's what it means: time freedom and financial freedom.
Okay. And to be able to do that, there's some connections to putting some people in the right seat on the bus. So let's transition that into the next one, that next truth that talks about learning how to be the management force and not just the labor force, because the labor force is a very controlled period of time. 24/7, you can show up, you can head for the next appointment. The goal is, how do you increase your productivity and buy your life back at the same time? Jeff, do you have anything that you want to contribute on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's the bottom line with all of this is leveraging who you are, leveraging systems, leveraging your philosophy of business. And I want to be quick to point out that when we earn time freedom and we earn an optimized life, so does our team. The members of our team are living a much more optimized real estate career than a solo practitioner, because they have the network effect of a group of people that supports them. They have backup, they have support. But in terms of our particular path as team leaders, yeah, we are in the process of leveraging human capital, leveraging resource capital, systems capital, all these things, so that it's not just about us. And there's an aspirational side to this where we are actually helping a group of people live a much better life. And that in itself is a big driver for us. At the end of the day, when we talk about our business, we talk about our wins. A lot of our conversations between Ricardo and I are about, what did we do to help somebody today? How do we get them to a higher place? That's the the icing on the cake, and it makes it such a wonderful experience for us. So I don't know if that answered the question, but I felt like that was an important point that I wanted to make.
Okay. All right. And in this particular area, I know there's something that we talk about a lot. There's two phrases that you hear: working below your pay grade, right?
Exactly.
Now, when do you find yourself working below your pay grade, and how do you fire yourself? Fair enough.
Right.
And so I'm gonna move this on to Kevin and Todd, either of you, because I'm not sure if Kevin can come through right now. But what are your thoughts on that? Todd, what's your thoughts on this whole concept of learning how to fire yourself, right? Because if you're looking at the idea of becoming the management force and exiting the labor force, how do you do that? What's the process? So how do you fire yourself, and how do you make sure you're not working below your pay grade?
That's a great question. Kevin, are you there yet? I've been talking to him through text, Pam, and he can see us, but he can't talk.
He can't communicate.
Can't communicate.
Okay.
So for Kevin and I, that was probably one of the biggest problems we had yet to tackle, because Jeff, I agree with you on what you're saying about, a better quality of life for everybody, but we had a really hard time of trying to figure out how to get out of our own way and grow. So with Kevin and I both being independent agents, coming together as a team was a real challenge, because we're both very, very good, or at least we think we're very, very good at what we do. And there was a lot of crossover in that. So we were both labor heavy in what we did. We felt like we were the best we could do, best we could be for our clients in almost every area. So what we had to do is take a real hard, serious look at what we did best, and then be brutally honest with each other. And that was really hard, but it's paying off big time right now. So we both have a lane that we're in, that we're trying to expand our management and delegate the labor aspect of it. It is imperative to our growth, and we continue to struggle with, that's your side of the business, this is my side of the business. And now we're at the point, guys, to where we're looking at how we can even delegate more of that, so we can do what Dave was talking about a little earlier, is focus on what is truly important in our business and growth, development, expansion, and brand awareness.
Okay. All right. And when you talk about firing yourself, obviously that means you got to put somebody into the job, right?
Right.
And with that comes a financial commitment.
Mhm.
And that tends to kind of transition us into this whole idea of being focused on profitability, right? Not just the production, but the profitability. There's a cost associated with that, but what does it do to profitability? And so I'd like to ask you, for that same, conversation, can you connect that difference between the idea that I've got to fill the role at a lower dollar pay grade? How do I do that? I'm willing to make the financial commitment. I'd like to ask you, and I'd like to go to anyone else that feels like they had to take on a financial commitment to fire themselves and move to a higher level of production.
Yeah, so we have that's one of the things. And I wish Kevin could speak to this, because he's much more could speak much more to this than I can. We invested into a CRM system called RealVolve that is very, very robust, and there is the financial investment into that is not only the cost of the system, but the cost and the time that it took to develop the systems, which allowed us more freedom. So systems development is a huge part of it. Process development is a huge part of what we're trying to develop and implement so that we can, grow a little better. So RealVolve, our CRM system, is probably the one thing that comes to my mind that we've invested heavily in to help us get out of the labor role and more into the management role and investing.
Okay. All right. The rest of you, Dave, I know you've taken on Danielle, and that was a big financial commitment. I know that having Kay in there, Kamika in there with you all, Jeff and Ricardo, that was a good financial commitment. How do you justify that, and what's been the payoff? Dave, why don't you go first, and we'll move to Jeff and
Sure. Well, it's funny how it all worked out, but when I decided that I needed additional help, I initially thought that I wanted an agent to come in and help me, and one thing didn't work out, and then it led me to realize that really what I needed help with the most was systems and really dialing in our day-to-day operations of the business, and that was going to help elevate what we're doing and create more efficiency and allow me to be more effective at my job. So when Danielle came on our team back in January of this year, immediately she started working on fine-tuning what I was doing and implementing different systems, from CRMs to tracking our pipeline to marketing initiatives to branding, and it's just been exceptional. But there was a huge it was a little bit scary, because all of a sudden you have an employee, which I've never had before, and with that there's payroll and all sorts of different things. So it was kind of a leap of faith, but I think it was well justified. Our business plan showed that I could afford that, and that it's something that would be worthwhile doing. And the best part about it is it's allowed me to focus on generating more listings and meeting with buyers, and really the stuff that I love the most about the business, where Danielle, my operations manager, is helping to develop a new website and overseeing our marketing initiatives and working with branding consultants and things of that nature. And it's just been, extraordinary, and huge financial commitment. But at the same time, it keeps me on task and keeps me focused on, getting out there and selling more property and helping our clients and providing value to our clients. And to me, it's the most exciting thing that I've probably done in my real estate career, because once again, it's getting outside of myself, creating something that's bigger than me. And then also it's, getting back to what the other panelists have, touched on, is that it's buying back some of your life and, getting a greater work-life balance. And to me, that's the most exciting, because we're at a point now where we're ready to scale. And, the next year, 2 years, 5 years, like I'm just so excited about what the future holds, and all these investments that, we put into our own businesses really do have great rewards.
Dave, you just went to, mute.
About these opportunities, because we're making the investments now, and it's just, you can see where we'll end up years from now. So that's just really exciting for me.
Okay. And when we go to Jeff and Ricardo, the thing that I think we want to answer for everybody out there is everybody has that first hire, and that first hire usually comes with a financial commitment, and there's a fear in that. So what is the difference between being stuck in that fear and not moving forward and having the guts to say, no, it's time to move forward? Jeff, what do you think?
Well, I would say, in order to understand your hiring process, there's two types of hires that you do. There's one where you hire people to do what you are doing and just to take tasks off your plate. That's addition. The other process is to hire people that can do what you can't do. That's multiplication. That's Kamika. We hired Kamika to do stuff that we couldn't do, to further expedite our processes and to make our organization bigger and more functional. And what the fear factor we had wasn't the fear of so much paying and compensation, but the fear factor was opportunity loss by not hiring somebody like Kamika to do the things that we needed to have done to move our organization forward. And so we have to look at it that way. If we get stuck into a position where you're only hiring people to do what you can already do, then all you're doing is buying yourself some extra time, which is good, but then you're going to end up doing stuff that you don't know how to do, that you haven't brought in a specialist or an expert into your system. So the fear of that situation was mitigated by the knowledge that we were going to have stuff happening in our organization that we had no ability to put together. So we had to hire somebody that knew things that we didn't know. Okay, and this is somebody that came from outside the real estate space. So this required a very serious analysis of what we needed and what could be done. And I would just say this, our relationship with Kamika predates our team relationship. It goes all the way back to an association through the University of California, Merced, through their entrepreneurial venture lab program. So we got to know Kamika for quite some time and brought her in, and that was really super efficient. As far as hiring people to do tasks, what we've done is we've successfully hired people through county work programs. We have people through 2 different programs, actually 3 over the last several years, that have come to work for us. We get to try them before we buy them, so to speak. We've got one guy right now in the tech space, and Pam, you know him real well, Kevin.
Yes.
He's being paid up until he's got another few weeks left. He's been paid by the county. So it's taken away the fear factor of exposing him to our operation to see. We've been able to test him out before we've launched. So these are some things that have worked for us, but I would really strongly encourage everybody to identify those 2 types of hires. The one that just does the work for you, takes things off your plate, and the person that brings something into the organization that you don't have, skill sets that you don't have.
Okay. Ricardo, you want to add anything to that? Because then we're going to Kamika. Oh, you're on mute.
Sure. So yeah, kind of like when you started this conversation, you had mentioned being a jack of all trades and a master of none. I really got tired of being tired. It was every day nonstop, having to manage an operation, manage team, manage my transactions, create a property website, do all this little $10 an hour stuff, or stuff that we shouldn't be giving our energy to. That was robbing us of our time and robbing us of our creativity. and our ability to scale and grow, because we were just being jacks of all trades and masters of none. So
Yes.
she's just been an incredible addition to help us move away from a lot of the stuff that we shouldn't be doing. And she's actually delegating out stuff that she shouldn't be doing anymore. So it's a beautiful process to watch.
Well, and that is an excellent point, Ricardo, that I wanted to make sure we made by today, is that when we talk about you working below your pay grade, when you're true to the growth of a team, it doesn't apply to just you, it applies to everybody that works for you. Because there comes a day when Kamika's workload is below her pay grade, and that's where the hiring process continues to expand. Because every time Kamika moves up in that process, she's taking higher dollar productivity into her realm, which means it comes off your desk.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it allows you all to go to the next level. So when we talk about a team not being an I, it is a we. And when we talk about the things that you all have said today, which is when you take people in, you're taking them in as part of your vision and sharing the profitability and the success. When you do that, everybody goes up a notch, right? Everyone does.
You know, if I could just quickly add to that, like, you know, I mentioned earlier that I'm living in my dream. My dream has been to impact as many people as possible, to help as many people as possible, because I've given away hundreds, maybe even thousands of keys, you know, and that's a great gratifying feeling to help someone move into their first home or sell their home for top dollar. That's awesome. But we've done it thousands of times. And
Yes.
What's even more, I mean, at this stage of our career, it's the gratification comes from seeing the 16 agents on my team and the 19 agents on my team give keys and get a phone call after that saying, hey, I just paid off all of my debt. Hey, I'm about to pay off my house. Thank you, Ricardo. Thank you, Jeff. That's where the gratification comes from now. And so adding Kamika to this process has helped us stay in our zone, stay in our lane. Every day I only focus on 5 things: training my team, recruiting, mergers and acquisitions, my health, and wealth building. Everything outside of that, somebody else is managing.
The radar. Doesn't make the radar. And the truth is, from a team standpoint, keeping in mind, one of the truths of a team is a microcosm of a healthy office. Your job, if you're going to run a team, is to manage, train, recruit, retain. When you've done those things, you are pouring in on a level that creates as healthy an environment in a team as somebody else is creating in an office. Kamika, I want to run this one by you because I think you're so connected to it. When we talk about people having the guts to be able to spend the money to take the team to the next level by hiring somebody in to do things that are below their pay grade that have been well defined, you've got to have the confidence that the return on investment is worth it. And I believe with all my heart that comes from having a very structured business plan that not only tells you where you are, but where you're going. Would you speak to that, Kamika? Because I know you're very involved with the business plan.
Thank you. Absolutely. So one of the first things that I will say is, as Jeff mentioned, I do not come from the real estate industry. I come from the event planning industry, but what I came with was a collection of experiences and skill sets that made me a professional in that industry that I just transferred over to this industry. A lot of the industries are very, very similar. Yes, terminology may be different, processes may be different, but when you come with professional skill set, it can really be applied to any industry. So I just carried that on. But what these gentlemen have allowed me to do was literally retire from the government and be able to do this full time, which is an expansion of who I am at its core, which is a service woman. I am someone that believes that I am here to be of service to people, rather that be through service and or through product. So me being director of operations is a true reflection of who I am. And I am one of those individuals that were able to retire. You talked about a business plan. And for me, I've been able to not just be a part of a business plan for this organization, I've been able to also make my own business plan within this organization. And entrepreneurship is something that is very, very near and dear to my heart, because that, especially if you're doing it on the right path, it is what creates freedom for you. You know, we've been talking about time freedom and financial freedom, and those come with being your own boss. So it is very, very important that as you have a business plan for your organization, that you have one for yourself independently as well. Okay. And Todd, excuse me, Kevin, you're on with us now. I can see that face. I'm assuming it comes with sound. Can you speak? Can you hear? Can we hear you? No, it doesn't look like we can. What a shame, because you've had some really good things to share with us today. Here's what I do know. There's not somebody on this page right now that's not working a very specific business plan. And if there's anything that I know the business plan has done for everyone that I have seen, is that it defines where you are and it also defines where you're going. And so often individuals are stuck in their production because what's in front of them is what gives them confidence. But when that runs out, they're not sure what the next 6 months looks like. And so if we were to blend all of these together, a business or a salesperson worries about where the sales coming from today. A business owner worries about where it's coming from in 6 months, right? And when you're running a business plan tells you what's happening today, which is, as we say, physically in this quarter, but it also tells you what's coming up tomorrow, mentally in next. And would all of you say that at this point, you probably have as much awareness as what's on the table today as what's coming at you in the future? Anybody want to make a comment to that?
Well, I'll start it off here. You got to plan for the future. You have to know exactly what you want coming down the road. I mean, what's happening right now is great, right? It's the immediate, it's reality. But the future, and what I've gotten from both.
Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
Kevin, I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me now?
There you go.
Okay, it's working.
You have not entered any numbers.
Oh, okay. Well,
Go ahead,
right.
Todd.
All right.
We'll give Kevin some time real quick.
Yeah, Kevin, go for it.
Yeah, technical difficulties. Sorry about that.
You're up.
Oh, what was the question one more time? I was trying to dial in.
Well, looking at the idea that as we focus on this business plan and really knowing it, do you feel like it's helped you to have the confidence in where you are today, but even more so the confidence of where you're going? Because out of that confidence, does it encourage you to pay the price, whether that's the income, the salary, the commitment to go out there and recruit and interview when you feel like you don't have enough time to do that, because you know what's coming at you, not just what you're dealing with. Is that fair, Kevin?
Yes, that is a fair statement. And I think that when you have the ability to kind of step outside of your box, you start to realize what is on the outside of your box. You start to realize like, oh, there are other things that I could be doing that I couldn't do before because I wasn't able to have the time or the energy to be able to do that. And so just having the gusto to go out there and do that, you start to expand your thinking. And so I think that when you expand your thinking is when you start to grow. So, yeah.
Well, if you haven't had a chance, before we have to start to wrap up, Matt, I know you've got a question. But before we wrap up, Kevin, is there anything else you wanted to share since we missed you earlier? Anything else you want to bring to the table in this conversation that would benefit someone?
I think that one of the things that you like looking at a team aspect is the ability to kind of be able to do what you want to do. And I think that being part of a team allows you to not be the jack of all trades like you were talking about, but really focus on the things that you really want to do and not necessarily the things that you have to do. And Todd and I have really tried to hone in on that So Todd likes to talk to people, and like he has a connection with everybody and their grandma about their dog, to the countertops that they have, to whatever. And I am not that person. I just want to get down to the numbers. I want to know what the numbers are. Okay, let's forget all this, BS about your dog and, everything. And so being on a team, it allows me to like really enjoy doing real estate a lot better, because I know that that part of the business is very important. That's a really important part. People want to do business with people that they like, but it allows me to allow somebody else to be more of the expert of that, and allows me to be more of the expert. Like I want to, I could geek out on a listing presentation and make it perfect, and I can, geek out on, the systems and the, working with all the different things. And so it just allows me to be a better person for myself, rather than trying to be anything for everybody.
Okay. And I want to end on one thought when it comes to the whole idea of systems. Systems truly are at the foundation of brand experience, because there's no way anybody in a leadership role that's on a team has the confidence to take what you have worked forever and hand it to someone else unless they can plug into a systematic approach of replicating what you do in a way that it comes out the other side looking like the same experience. And that's why us drilling into systems and knowing what they are and reinforcing them and making sure they're in use. I mean, we always say, has the system failed you, or did you fail the system, right? Do you even have one in place? Or if you have one in place, are they being used? Because all of those things come back to the core of a healthy team. So last thought, and then we're going to Matt very quickly. If you were to look and say, out of coaching, what has coaching done the most for you at this point? Dave, I know you said earlier, and I want you all, to answer me very quickly so I can get to Matt, but you said earlier that you didn't see yourself having a dramatic increase in production yet, but you do see your production doing what within the year?
Yeah, so I do see my production having just exponential growth over the next 12 months, the next 24 months. And I think the biggest thing that coaching has done for me is made me really look at the business, look at our systems, figure out where there's cracks that can be filled, where business is slipping through the cracks because we didn't have the correct systems or the people to help us out. And I feel like that's the biggest thing, is we have all this business coming in and making sure that people are serviced to the highest level. And that's where I see our growth coming from, because we're already doing a good business. But if we ratchet everything up a notch, and we just have a lot of growth opportunity. And I think the biggest thing that coaching has done for me is instilled a level of confidence that I can do this, and that there is support around me, and that Corcoran Global Living does care about my success, and that's just so cool to me.
Matt, I'm going to have to go to you all, or you right now, because I know we're coming short. And if we have a minute, we'll let anybody else say something.
It's been an amazing almost an hour now with you guys. It's pretty cool stuff. A lot of great comments in the chat. The questions that I've been kind of seeing and holding them up all tend to focus around how do they get involved with you, Pam, in terms of I know you have a process that through their sales office manager they can get an appointment with you,
Yes.
and also I think a lot of the other questions are around, is there a business plan that you have that you can share? And I know every team is so different, so it's really more about getting involved in the process with you, whether it be in your course series that you can tell us a little bit about that's coming up, which would be a great follow-up for anybody interested in teams. But if you could just for a minute, just tell us about those two opportunities, I guess.
Yeah, we do have the webinar series coming up. It's starting middle of September. It's going to kick off a 12-month series of monthly webinars with follow-up Facebook Live groups that we're going to be able to have conversations about what we learned, so that there's some real deep learning, deep conversations about all those things that are important and at the foundation of healthy teams. There are certain individuals, especially people that are just like this, that are at these levels, that they need it now. I mean, they're knee deep in, and what I often find is they have all of the best intentions. They have plenty of things going right, but there are holes in the foundation, and it's our job to take that business plan, drill in, and make sure we fill those holes. When it comes to the webinar, one of our webinars will be on business planning, and I will most likely bring it in the end of October, 1st of November, because if you're on a team, your business planning should be done before the holidays. You cannot be physically in this quarter and mentally in next unless your business plan is done for 2022. How do you focus on 2022 and 2021 with no new business plan? So we're going to be drilling into that stuff, but we've got so many exciting things going on right now. And I know we've got just a few minutes. Matt, is there anything else you wanted to say, or any chance that one of them can say one more thing if they choose to about their experience?
I would love to hear from the panelists.
Okay, guys. Todd, Kevin, anything from you? Ricardo and Jeff, anything from you?
I would, I'm just going to give you a shout out, Pam. I've always, at this stage in my career, just speaking for myself personally, we all love making money, and that's probably why we all ended up in the real estate space. We wanted to make lots of money, but at this point in my career, it's beyond that. Money's like oxygen; we got to have it. But it's really, for me now at this stage, more about the vision and impact. In how can I impact as many people before I leave this space, and help as many people and just feel good about life. And I really feel like connecting with you, Pam, is really just helping us set the correct sail for our organization. I think we were doing a lot of trial and error stuff, a lot of see what works here, what works there. And it's really given us some focus and some vision. And I feel like our sail is set in the right direction. So grateful for you.
Thank you. I know that building the business plan is the compass, and then everything that goes around brings you right back to it. We can be out in left field and it's time to pull you back in. That's what a good one does. All right. How about Kevin, Todd, anything else that you want to share?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Pam, for we've like Todd and I have been in the real estate for quite a while, and we've had different coaches, and we both feel that you have brought a new level of coaching to us that we've never had before with another coach, in the fact of just expanding our minds and setting our goals. I mean, we want to be, our goal is to be location independent. All the COVID stuff going around, it opened up our eyes, it expanded our eyes to maybe we can do this, from anywhere. And so just expanding our vision is kind of what we feel you have been able to help us to expand in just the team part of it. So we want to just say thank you for that. And we look forward to continuing on this journey to becoming location independent and redefining what we do as real estate agents.
Thank you. Kamika, last word. Anything that you'd like to throw in?
Thank you so much. Once again, gratitude to you all. I'm just going to say it because maybe nobody wants to say it. I'm proud to be a part of a group that has really, really strong, powerful women. Typically in this industry, you see nothing but men. I am so grateful to be a part of this industry where these powerful women are standing up. I get to work with you personally. And see Miss Nancy Robinson. Yes, thank you, ma'am. I see that. And it's a great feeling because it does feel like home to me, right? It doesn't feel like home if I'm surrounded by a bunch of powerful men. So this brokerage has brought a true balance to me in knowing that I can see exactly my lineage. It's very clear to me where I can be now. So
that's
thank
wonderful.
you.
And
thank
on
you.
that note, we have some other powerful team leaders that are women. They just couldn't be with us this morning. So yes, we will do it again. And so again, thank you all. I mean it when I say it. It is an unbelievable privilege to work with the quality and the caliber of the people that are on the screen today and the ones that are outside of the screen right now. It's an amazing process. And we focus on some of these things that we talked about today, the systemization, the production being all about profitability, making sure that you're thinking like a business owner, going from that labor force to the management force. All of those are principles that make the difference between really solid, healthy teams. So love y'all. Looking forward to seeing you again. Thanks for the opportunity and the privilege to be with y'all today. Thank everyone on.
Thanks again, Pam, and definitely keep an eye out. We'll have that email for the joint venture mortgage naming contest, trip to New York show. It's going to be awesome. We'll have that out to you by Wednesday.
Kamika, get creative. Get us a spot to New York.
Thank you, everybody. Cheers.
Do your job,
Bye.
Kamika.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you, everyone.